Let's start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are doing Taittriya Upanishad, chapter 2. All Upanishads lead to the same goal. That goal is called as Brahman. What is this Brahman is explained in very big detail in the Upanishads. When a student approaches a teacher, he is ready, mentally ready, and he has examined the world. The world which is changing, fleeting. This changing world does not give us happiness, lasting happiness. In Prashna Upanishad Bhashyam, Shankaracharya, in the very first verse of Prashna Upanishad, he writes a beautiful commentary. And he says that the student has examined the world and he has found that there is no happiness, lasting happiness in the world. Therefore, he goes to the teacher and asks for Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is the science of eternity, Nityatva. So all of us, when we want to come and study Upanishads, we should be very clear. We should, number one, we should be mature. The question we must, number two, we should examine our world. With a very deep intellect, we should ask this question. What is this whole world about? Is it a fleeting world or is there anything permanent? So the student of Prashna Upanishad, the student of Katha Upanishad, the student of Taittriya Upanishad is the same. In Katha Upanishad also, the student goes and asks the Lord of Death, is there anything which is permanent in this universe? Some say after death there is nothing. Some say after death there is something. Now you are the Lord of Death. Can you teach me, is there something which is beyond death? Indirectly, what he's asking is there anything which is timeless, which is beyond birth also? If it is beyond death, it is beyond birth also. Taittriya Upanishad also, I'm trying to link all the Upanishads so that you can understand how all the Upanishads are leading to the same goal. In Mandukya Upanishad, the student there wants to do Brahma Vichara. The teacher teaches him Omkara Vichara. By doing Omkara Vichara, analysis of Omkara, you will reach Brahman. In Kathopanishad, it said that if you go beyond Dharma and Adharma, you will reach Brahman. If you go beyond past and future, you will reach Brahman. In Prashna Upanishad, the student also the same question. How do I reach that Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa Atma? Hastamalika Shlokam, first mantra, deals with this permanent, eternal reality. Let's come down to Taittriya Upanishad. In the second chapter and the third chapter, 19 Anuvakas are there. They are the central teaching of Taittriya Upanishad. We are doing the second chapter, the seventh Anuvaka. Totally there are 19. We are in the seventh Anuvaka. In the first Anuvaka, the description of Brahman was given. And the description was from which this entire world is coming, that Karanam is called as Brahman. I'm giving you this background so that you can understand the seventh Anuvaka which we are going to do today. This background will help you. So in the first mantra of the Upanishad, first Anuvaka, Brahma Vida Apnoti Param. Try to know this Brahman and you will get rid of your samsara. The goal of the Upanishad was mentioned in the very first mantra. Then the Upanishad said, where do I find this Brahman? Not outside, but deep within the intellect. Search in your intellect and you will discover Brahman. What is this Brahman? Brahman is the Karanam, the cause of this Panchabhutas. The world is nothing but it is a product, Karyam. What is the Karanam? Brahman. What is the Karyam, the product? The world. So, very elaborately, the Panchabhuta Srishti, creation of the 5 elements was described. And then from there, the human body was born. And then you have the entire Vyavahara. In order to understand this Brahman, Taittriya Upanishad has a methodology of saying, do an analysis of your own personality. When we do our analysis, we discover that we all have got 5 personalities. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. That was the first 6 Anuvakas. Now, after having reached your Atma, what is the next knowledge I need? I have gone back to my personality. I have known that I am the pure consciousness in this body. Is that the end of the teaching? The Taittriya Upanishad says, all Upanishads will say, no. You have reached Tvam Pada Lakshyartha. Vachyartha means the direct meaning of you. Direct meaning of you is the body and the mind. The Lakshyartha, the indicative meaning of you is Atma. Means the self in this body. after you have reached the self, the next teaching of the Upanishad is, in all the Upanishads, not only Taittriya, this is the Mahavakya teaching. Tvampada Lakshyartha is done. Now you have to do Tat Pada Lakshyartha. Tat means what? The creator, the Ishvara, the totality. Tat. That Tat Pada also, like we have for youth, you have got the direct meaning and the indirect meaning. For Tat also, there is a direct meaning and indirect meaning. The direct meaning of Tat means the visible world which I see. Vachyartha. That Ishvara is nothing but this world. What is the indirect Lakshyartha of this Tat Pada? It is the same consciousness, but when it comes to the entire universe, it is called as existence, Sat. Try to see the big picture first, then it will be easy to understand what we are going to learn today. So there is a world, there is a creator. That creator has got two versions. One is the visible version, which is called as the Jagat. And the second version is called as existence or Sat. Like we also have two versions. Body, mind is the Vachyartha, the direct meaning. Indirect meaning is the consciousness aspect. In the second level of teaching, the Upanishad wants to say that the Sat, which is the existence principle, is the same as the Chit in this body. And then it wants to marry the Sat and the Chit and say that is the reality, beyond which there is nothing. So we are now in the Tat Pada Vichara in the 7th, 8th, 9th Anuvakas. In the three Anuvakas, Anuvaka means the verses, the paragraph, the sections. The 7th Anuvaka has got 3 verses. Today we are going to start with the first verse. Now you have got the full picture of where we stand. Therefore, you can understand this section very well. Asadva idam agre asid tato vai sadajayata. It goes on to say that the universe consists of 2 portions. I'll explain to you. This is a long section. There are 200 pages of slides explaining this 7th Anuvaka. If I give you the gist in the beginning, then you will understand the whole 200 pages. The entire 200 slides will be easy for you. Very easy. But you must understand where we are starting, where we are trying to reach. The vision of the Upanishads is very different than the vision of the science. Very different. You see, what is the difference between science and Veda in this section? What Veda says is, this world consists of manifestation, unmanifestation. This is the same thing which is taught in Mandukya Upanishad also, which I'll be teaching in the month of January. So try to get this vision. Okay, if you get this vision, you have understood the entire Vedanta. because the same vision is being given out in all Upanishads. So what it says is that this universe, before it is in the manifestation, now it is in the manifestation. But what it says is, before this manifestation, it was in unmanifest condition. That unmanifest condition is called as asat in this particular context. So what is asat? Asat means unmanifest condition of this universe. How do I try to understand this? The dream which you experience at night when you are asleep, right now, is it there or not? It is there, but it is in unmanifest condition. What I'm going to dream today, it will be manifest in the dream, at the dream time. Similarly, for this Jagrat Avastha, the waking state also, there is an unmanifest condition. And beyond that unmanifest condition is the reality. That is what this is a very, very important section. The seventh section is a very important section to go very deep into our mind. Because when you try to understand this section, you will go beyond the mind. Because it is expected to. When you learn this Upanishad mantra, you will see that your mind gets dropped and then you are into a totally different universe. Every mind has the capacity to go beyond its realm of experiences. From that unmanifest condition is this manifest condition. For example, in our sleep state. In Mandukya Upanishad, the sleep state is called as the unmanifest condition. It is called as Maya. It is called as ignorance. It is called as Abhyakritam, unmanifest. And all of us have this experience. So it is nothing new. What Upanishad is trying to tell you is only try to make you aware of what you are experiencing. So the awareness of the real self is with all of us. We are not new. We are not trying to learn something new. We are only trying to remove the covering of that Atma through the study of Upanishads. So this mantra, the first part, Asadva idam agre asit, it is a Rig mantra, Rig Veda mantra, which Taittriya Upanishad, which is a Yajur Veda, it is quoting a Rig Veda mantra. Now this word, according to the Upanishad, is in manifest and unmanifest condition, and this Brahman, the reality, because there is nothing else. We cannot describe that as anything else. We can only say it is the real Vastu of this universe. It is the timeless Vastu. That reality is Ananda Swarupaha. That is the second teaching in this section. The nature of this Ananda we are going to study in the 8th Anuvaka. A beautiful analysis is given of happiness. And here the Upanishad says, because of this intrinsic nature of our happiness, the entire universe functions. And this happiness belongs to only Brahman. It does not belong to the world. See, this is a Sankshepa. This is a consolidated description which the Upanishad itself will expand. So, but you must understand this particular, the first introduction by Shankaracharya and the Upanishad, so that you can follow the steps of the Upanishads when we go forward. See, the study of Upanishads is a very, very subtle study. The mind has to become extremely pure, focused, concentrated, without any oscillations, projections. When you study and you hear, you must be completely attentive, alert, so that you can follow the verses very well. When you follow the verses, you will enjoy it. So Brahman, this reality, is both the intelligent cause and the material cause. This is a very unique thing. That is why it is called as Paramarthika Satya. It is absolute reality. Whereas in the world of Vyavahara, it is relative reality, which means you can see the cause is different and the effect is different. And the cause has got a material cause and the intelligent cause is separate. Carpenter and the wood. They together produce a chair. Potter and clay. Together they produce pot. But in the case of this universe, there is only one God, which is the material cause, which is the Panchabhutas, and which is also the intelligence behind it. See, these are all very important sections. If you understand this, the entire teaching becomes easy and you would get the benefit of this knowledge. So when I look at God, I should look at God as the entire creation, and also that is the Jagat, and I should also look God as Ishvara. Ishvara is the intelligent portion. Jagat means Panchabhutas, Maya Shakti. That is what is being explained. So Brahman converted itself into universe. Now you are able to understand this? See, there's so much of explanation required for each of these portions, because your intellect has to travel in this direction and it has to assimilate this knowledge. So what we experience now was in the unmanifest condition. What we are experiencing is a name and a form, but this name and form does not have existence as its own quality. Existence belongs to Brahman. It belongs to the reality, which is beyond the unmanifest. See, manifest, unmanifest relates to the world. But this quality of existence, the Sat principle, the Chit principle, is beyond the Karanam and Karya. Brahman is called as Karanam. It is called as Asat. Only in this context, Brahman is called as Asat. Asatva idam agre asid. In the beginning, there was Asat. That Asat is nothing but Brahman. This is like a story. Assume that it is a supreme being. It is the Lord who is called as Supreme Being. It's a being, it's an intelligent being who can come and reveal himself as this universe. That's what Lord Krishna says in the chapter 10 and 11. Look at the world. That is my creation, my vibhuti. Whole creation is my vibhuti. Anything you choose to find unique in this world, you think of Lord. Beautiful sunset, you think of the Lord. Sunrise, you think of the Lord. You see a full moon, you think of that Lord. You see beautiful flower, you think of the Lord. Existence of the flower does not belong to the flower, it belongs to the Creator. The world is a karyam, and that karyam is called as Sat. This Sat means it exists in a potential form. Manifest form, unmanifest form. Unmanifest form is called as potential form. Normally, Sat means existence, Asat means non-existence. But here in this context, Sat means Karyam, Asat means Karanam. So don't get carried away by the meaning of Asat as non-existence, which some of the Western philosophers, they quote this mantra. And they build the whole philosophy beyond this word Asat. And they say Asat was there before. The whole universe has come from Asat. That Asat is non-existence. From non-existence only the entire world has come. That is the analysis, understanding of Sankhya philosophy, Vaiseshika philosophy. This is taken up as a debate in Mandukya Upanishad, and also in Brahma Sutra. What is the logic by which we say that the world is coming from Sat and not coming from Asat? That means it is not coming from non-existence, it is coming from existence. So here Shankaracharya in this section, he says, butter is in potential form, all of us will understand. Suppose you take milk and then you get butter out of it. So is the butter in the milk or not? Suppose you ask, what will you say? You will say, I don't see the butter in the milk. Milk is separate, butter is separate. So when I look at butter, it looks different. But what is the cause of butter? Milk. So this condition of butter was existing in the milk in a potential form. That is what Shankaracharya is saying, that the whole world is like this only. World is there in potential form in God, in Brahman. But we call it God. I mean, you can, in the religious terms, they call it God. In philosophy, we call it Brahman. So like you say, that dream was there in the baker, butter is there in the milk, chain is there in the gold. Similarly, the world is there in Brahman. Another example, child. When do we say the child is born? When the birth of the body comes out in the world, we say the child is born. Till the child is born, we don't say the child exists. Till the world is born, we don't say the world exists. When the child is available for transaction, we say the child is born. When the world is available for transaction, we say the world is born. When it is not available for transaction, it is not non-existent, but it is in potential form. All of us, before the birth of this body, we are in potential form, unmanifest form. Similarly, after the death of the body, we again go back to the unmanifest form. When we take a birth again in another body, we become manifest. Nobody dies. Death is only external death of the sthula sharira, which is made up of panchabhutas. But the jiva never dies. Jiva gets reborn into another body. But through jnanam, through this Taittriya Upanishad jnanam, if I take my mind to the source of this unmanifest condition, I can go and drop body forever. That is what is called as moksha. Coming back here, Karanam is not available for transaction. Brahman is not available for transaction. It is called as asat, but it is not non-existent. It is existent, but not available for transaction. So what is God? God is existent, but he is not available for transactions. I cannot see God, I cannot hear God, I cannot touch God, I cannot feel God, but he is there. Upanishads reveal that God in its nirguna form. Without the gunas, how God is. Without guna, if I can know God, then Upanishad says that is your own nature also. Whatever you say is God's nature of nirgunatvam, nirvikaratvam, nirviseshatvam, niravayavatvam, that is the same nature as your nature also, which we call it as Atma. So if you understand this section well, you can understand your own nature. So in simple words, how do I understand? I have two conditions which I can experience every day. One is a manifest condition when I can see this body. There is another condition in sleep when I don't see this body. That unmanifest condition is only appearing as this manifest condition. But beyond that unmanifest condition, there is nature, intrinsic nature, which we call it as Brahman, which is never available for transaction, but in its presence, the entire manifestation, unmanifestation is going on. So my mind has to ultimately reach a state which is beyond manifest and unmanifest. This is the same knowledge given in all the Upanishads. Kaivalya Upanishad, which we have done, Mayeva Sakalam Jatam, Mayi Sarvam Pratishtitam, the 20th mantra in that Kaivalya Upanishad is saying the same, it is revealing the same reality which I am revealing now. Mundak Upanishad, which we have done. I am quoting only what we have done. Mundak Upanishad also, Aksharam. Aksharam means what we are discussing now, right now. Keno Upanishad, Pratibhodham is the same thing as Sat and Chit. Okay. So, So see, all these notes are very useful to you when you want to restudy this portion again. So world in potential form is called as Sat. World exists in Karana Rupam, causal form. World exists in Karya Rupam, product form. The main portion of Taittriya Upanishad is taught in 9 Anuvakas in Brahmananda Valli, chapter 2, 10 Anuvakas in Bhrigu Valli, chapter 3. But what is extremely important is to understand today's talk. Let your mind assimilate this knowledge. What is the meaning of assimilation? Assimilation means I must think about this in my own mind independently. What will happen when I think about it independently? That is called as mananam. Then what will happen? Your mind itself will start the third process, which is called as nididhyasanam. That will happen later. But you have to do the mananam. Right now, what are we doing? Shravanam. So listening to the Upanishad, analyzing in my own mind, contemplation, that is called as mananam. And the third section is nididhyasana. In nididhyasana, what happens? I learn to say, Aham Brahma Asmi. I am that reality which the Upanishad has revealed to me. Revealed to me. It has come to me. My mind can understand that. The moment you can say the mind can understand that, you are reaching the end of your study. You have to absorb the knowledge and then live the rest of your life. That's all. Brahma Sutra helps us in the second stage. After these Upanishads, we'll be doing Brahma Sutra. In Brahma Sutra, this particular mantra is taken up in Brahma Sutra for analysis. There is one section, this particular mantra is taken up because it is saying Asat. The right meaning of Asat is discussed in detail. Okay. Asadva idam agre asid is the Rigveda mantra. Asaditi Brahma uchyate. Brahman is called as Asat Karanam. World is manifest, unmanifest. There is another word for manifestation in Sanskrit. It is called as Vyakritam. Another word for unmanifest is Avyakritam. Avyakritam means what? It is only a name and a form without having existence of its own. What is the world which I'm experiencing? It is name and form and function without existence of its own. This must be assimilated by all of us to understand my real nature. If my real nature is existence, then I am the lender of existence to this whole universe. I have to separate the existence and consciousness portion from me and the world to understand the reality. The individual in Sushupti, in the sleep state, for all practical transactional purposes, the individual is as good as non-existent in the sleep state. As far as you are concerned, it is as good as you're not there. You means what? That I, aham, which is in the Vyavaharika stage, saying, I am this body, I am listening to the talk. These are all in the Vyavaharika stage. It is in the Jagrata Avastha. The same I disappears in the sleep state. And it exists as the pure I, Brahman. That Brahman can't transact with the world because it's a different level of, it's a different level of existence. But the world can't transact with him. That is the problem. That is the second thing which we have to clearly understand. Then only you will be able to reach that absolute nature. See, the world, whenever we're experiencing, it is mixed with that existence and Nama Rupa. I have to trace back my real nature. I have to drop the world and hold on to that existence. So we don't take the literal meaning of asat as non-existence, but we take it as vachyartha. It is not the literal meaning. We take what happens to the Shunyavadis. They say that the whole, or Shunyavadi means it is one of the philosophers who says that the whole world has come from non-existence, because he has understood this verse wrongly in the Veda. We are Brahmavadis. Brahman was there before. World is in existence. World is in potential condition in Brahman. We can't say that the world has originated from non-existence. From non-existence, nothing can come. So this is how Shankaracharya is explaining to us the Upanishadic mantra 271. Lot of things he goes into detail. I have just taken, that one big paragraph. I'm trying to break it up to make us understand what he's saying in that one small paragraph, which I showed you in the beginning. He refers to Chandogya Upanishad also, where a similar verse is taken up. What does it say in Chandogya Upanishad? Sadeva Saumya idam agre asid. This portion, Sadeva Saumya idam agre asid. This portion is very important. When you do Chandogya Upanishad, like how we are doing this Brahma, this particular verse, similarly in Chandogya Upanishad, same type of verse comes. What does it say there? Ekam eva advitiyam. This is the central message of Chandogya Upanishad. Sadeva Saumya idamagre asid ekam eva advitiyam Brahma. Before this manifestation of this world, Brahman was there. What is the nature of Brahman? Sat. Sadeva Saumya. Sat, here Sat is coming. It is the nature of Brahman. What is the description in Taittriya Upanishad? Satyam Jnanam Anantam. The same Sat which is described in Chandogya Upanishad is coming in Taittriya Upanishad also. It is the same. That is why we can say that all the Upanishads, they are revealing the same truth. 1108 Upanishads are there. If you really understand each of those Upanishads, you'll come back to the same. What is the same? Ekam. One reality. Eva. Without sajatiya, vijatiya, swagata, bheda. Without any differences. Advitiyam. Advitiyam is the non-dual nature of Brahman. There is no second consciousness. There is no second Sat principle, no second existence principle. Only one. That is our reality. That is the reality of the whole universe. This reality is eternal. If my mind can go to that Sat Chit Ananda. Through this type of analysis of Taittriya Upanishad or Chandogya Upanishad, these are the means. The words of the Upanishads are the means to reach that reality, that truth, which is the truth behind the entire universe and the truth behind my own body and mind. Today, I am teaching you Mahavakya analysis, the highest teaching of any Upanishad. How the Lakshyartha, indicative meaning of the Jiva, how the indicative meaning of that Ishvara, how they are related to each other, it is explained beautifully in these mantras. Only my mind has to travel away from this body and see that reality. Seeing means what? Understanding the reality. It is this mantra, it is the words of this mantra, Ekameva Advitiya, which is opening up that faculty in your mind to reveal the truth. This is the torchlight. The torchlight is the Shabda. Upanishadic Shabda is the torchlight. Like for the snake rope, a rope snake, we say that you bring the torchlight and you can see it is not a rope. It is not a rope, it is not a snake. You say it is a rope. Similarly, you take the torchlight of Taittriya Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, this mantra, show it in your intellect. See. Guru is telling you, come on, see what I am showing you. Beyond this intellect, beyond this mind, beyond this world, there is an existence. That existence is the truth. That is consciousness. It is called as consciousness. It is Chaitanya Swarupa. Why do we call it Chaitanya Swarupa? Because it is the intelligence behind this whole universe. There is nothing beyond. It is projecting. In its presence, all this is happening. See, the truth you have to understand in different stages. In Mandukya Upanishad, there are certain sections where it says it is in its presence. In its presence, the Prakriti is functioning. The nature is functioning in the presence of this Brahman. How existing world cannot come out of emptiness is described by Shankaracharya. So this universe is called as manifest or Vyakritam. It is called as name and form, Nama Rupa. Then the attributes are definable. It is called as manifest. Jalam, Prithvi, earth, I can see the form in the manifest condition. But it also exists in the unmanifest condition. And beyond that unmanifest condition is the creator. Okay? Meditate on the unmanifest universe. That unmanifest universe is called as Ishvara, is called as God. Manifest Ishvara is called as Jagat. See, we have Jiva Jagat Ishvara, right? What I'm saying, the whole universe in its unmanifest form is called as Ishvara, God. The same God, I don't call it God in manifest form. When it comes to manifest, I call it as Jagat. Only name change is there. But where is this name change? Only in my mind, in my tongue. That's all. What is the reality? Reality is only a power. It is only a Shakti. It is like it's a magical power. If I know that this is the power which exists in Brahman, and it is there in my body also, it is there in the universe also, I go back, I retrace the steps back to the ultimate Karan. One reality is appearing as manifest, called as world. One reality in unmanifest form, potential form, is called as God. God and world are not two separate entities. It is one entity, but given two names, like water, vapor, liquid, and solid. All of them are only water, but it appears in three forms. Therefore, I give three names. Similarly, Brahman appears as Jagat. I call it the world. Brahman appears as the creator, Karan. I call it God. These are all the analysis of the totality, the Tatpada. Okay? In different avasthas, the same reality is given as three names. For example, in the same reality, one reality called as Turiyam is given the name Vekar when it is identified with the physical body. The same Turiyam consciousness principle, when it is identified with the mind, it is called as the dreamer. The same consciousness principle, when it is identified as the ignorance in the jiva, it is called as sleep. Same Turiyam, one Turiyam. Similarly, one Brahman is called as Jiva Jagat Ishwar. What I'm expressing today, teaching today, is a very deep science. Very few intellects can pick up this in its true form, but all of you can pick it up and go through it in your own mind. This listening is only 1/3, but contemplation and nididhyasam are the balanced 2/3. You will get it. I see, once you have listened to it, your mind will start churning on the truth. Till it realizes that Brahman, your mind will not keep quiet. It will search for that truth, because you all have got that light of knowledge in your intellect now. The Lord in the Bhagavad Gita says, I will light that knowledge of Brahman in your own mind. He gives a promise to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. He says, I will light up that knowledge. If you have that light up that knowledge, you will come and you will rise up and reach that ultimate reality. Before Big Bang, science doesn't have any clue. This is where the science portion, I was telling you in the beginning, we are going to study the difference between science and Veda. Science says that Big Bang, somewhere there was a collision, and then after the collision, the whole evolution started. And the whole Prakriti, the nature of 5 elements, everything is described, and consciousness is taken as an attribute of the 5 elements. That is according to science. What Veda says is completely different. When you study Taittriya Upanishad, you will get a vision of this entire cosmos, that it is from consciousness the world comes. It is from consciousness the world manifests. It is into consciousness the world goes back. Science talks about black holes. Those are all unmanifest condition only. which rishis have discovered it long, long ago. So Brahman at the Karana Avastha is called as Asat. Asat means potential condition. I'm repeating this again and again so that you get this depth of this knowledge in your own mind. Universe with a distinct name and form is called as Sat in this portion. Okay, this is a revision portion. I will go through this quickly. So before creation, Avyakta Nama Rupa, potential condition, and Brahman were there. Then after creation, Vyakta Rupa, manifest condition, and that is what we call it as Prapancha, which means Jagat, and Ishvara, the creator. Because when we see something like this, we say there has to be a creator. So one Brahman before manifestation, after manifestation, is this entire Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. There is no difference in Brahman awareness between the past and present. See, this is an important fact. See, why I'm going, why I told you that I will continue Taittriya Upanishad slowly is because these portions you can never get when you don't see the Shankara Bhashyam. When you see the Shankara Bhashyam, you'll go into this depth. Otherwise, you'll just be studying the verses and their meanings, and then you will. The problem is you tend to forget when you go through it fast. But when you go through it slowly, like how we are doing, it goes deeper. Here, what it says is, Brahman or awareness has not changed. This is what is called as the changeless nature of Jiva. See, you and I experience there is something changeless. It is known to us, but we don't know what it is. We only see the body changing, mind changing, but there is an awareness which is not changing. And we realize that there is something which is not changed in me. When I was 5 years, it was the same. 10 years is the same. When I was 30 years, it's the same. Body is changing. I can see it. It was a small body, become a big body. Again, after some age, again becomes small. So body has gone through changes, but the awareness in the past, in the present, and in the future, when the body is gone, awareness will remain. That is what is called as eternity, timelessness. Brahman is timeless. Body, mind, and world are in time. What Upanishad is revealing is Nitya Vastu, the timeless. What in Prashna Upanishad, the student went to the Guru, Pipalada, and asked the Guru, teach me the timeless nature of Brahman. And then the Guru started the dialogue in Prashna Upanishad. Similarly in Taittriya Upanishad, similarly in Kathopanishad also, Mandukya Upanishad also, the same Brahman which is existing beyond the manifest and the unmanifest is revealed. So Ishvara is Brahman and Namarupa, world is Brahman and Namarupa. Brahman is common to both Ishvara and the world, and we have to separately in our own mind see the cause as Brahman and hold on to that. Okay, that is what is Mahavakya Vichara. That is what is called as the realization of the truth. Self-realization. We all talk about self-realization. Paramahansa Yogananda was very famous for that. So similarly, what we are learning is how to realize that pure nature in our own mind. Okay, so these are all revision portion. So it's a which I will skip here. We have done this. This is the second portion of the Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. And here Shankaracharya says, like a son who is different from the parent, the son is the product, karya. Same way, world is a product, karya. So it's physically he is distinct. The son is distinct than the parent. Similarly, the world is distinct. Pravibhaktam. Pravibhaktam means it is distinct. So the world is distinctly seen. Brahman is distinctly seen. But they are not separate. That Brahman, which was referred as this world, it got converted itself as the world. Now I have to see that Brahman without the world. How did the world originate from Brahman? Like a child originates from the mother. Physical distance is there. Parent and child exist separately, independently here and elsewhere. Similarly, Ishvara is in Vaikuntha, world is dropped here. Parent is Ishvara, world is here. So the son is different from the father, but intrinsically the son has come only from the parent. That is why we say the world has come from Ishvara, but ultimately world is nothing but Ishvara. Gold and chain, they are distinctly different, can be understood as different, seen as different. Similarly, baker, dreamer, sleeper are distinctly different. But the truth is what? Only consciousness, only Brahman. Ishvara created the world out of himself. And how did Ishvara create? Within himself. Everything is within Ishvara. Everything is within Brahman. Baker, dreamer, sleeper are all within Turiyam Chaitanya consciousness. Okay, so these are the ways in which we can trace back our origin to Brahman, our origin to the real self. What is the current body, mind, and the world? It is a transient self. Because of punyam and papa. Why do we see this world? Because of some law of karma, which is in charge of this origination of the universe and resolution of the universe. Bhagavad Gita's verse in chapter 4, the 24th verse, Brahmarpanam Brahma Harihi Brahmatno Brahmana Hutam Brahmaiva Tena Ganthavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. So this particular verse gives the whole gist of what we are discussing today. What does it say? Everything is Brahman only. But when we do this chapter in Bhagavad Gita, we don't have this big picture in our mind. What we studied today in Taittriya Upanishad is a grand vision. The same vision is given in Bhagavad Gita. You can see the link between Bhagavad Gita and this Taittriya Upanishad mantra. So now Shankaracharya goes forward. He goes a little bit into grammar, which I won't go into because that is not very relevant for us. He goes to the word called sukrutam. Sukrutam means well done. Sukrutam means, one meaning is creator. Another meaning is punya papam. How to interpret the Sukrutam? Shankaracharya spends a little bit time in this section, which I will skip. So here it talks about Sukrutam being the second meaning, and so I won't go into this section. Uh, okay. What Shankaracharya says in this section is Sukrutam means happiness. It means punyam. And punyam is only possible when there is an intelligent cause to create this world. To create this world, we need a Chetana Tattvam. Chetana Tattvam, Chetana means what? Sentient principle. So Brahman is also called as Sukrutam. It's Prasiddham, he says. Prasiddham is very popularly known as Sukrutam. Why do we say it is Sukrutam? It will come in the next stanza of this 7th section only. It is called Sukrutam because it is of the nature of joy. And because it is in the nature of joy, all of us are also able to experience this joy whenever our mind is in a conducive condition. So whenever we are experiencing this Ananda, it is a proof of that existence of Brahma. That we are going to see in the next section. And it is Shankaracharya brings it out just to show us the meaning of Sukrutam. Sukrutam is also explained in Chandogya Upanishad. In the 7th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad, 23rd mantra, it is called as Bhuma Vidya. Bhuma Vidya, there, Bhuma means same, Brahma Vidya. A very beautiful verse comes there. This is the verse which comes there. Yo vai bhuma tat sukham na alpe sukham asti. So, what does this mean? It means that there is only one source of happiness. We are going to see this happiness portion in the next section, 8th section. There is a full analysis of happiness. But these are all Shankaracharya starts telling us that you are going to study in future, but he gives you some introductions here. Because of the word Sukrutam. There is no happiness in the world. Happiness is reflected from that Brahman. And the student there is Narada. Narada says, teach me more about this happiness. When the teacher tells you there is no happiness in the world, the happiness is your own nature, you get perplexed. You don't understand this. But then the teacher explains there, which we will also see in the next section. The moonlight, the source of the moonlight is sun. Moonlight only is a reflection of the sun's light. Similarly, the Ananda which we are experiencing, the happiness we all experience in our life is only a reflection of that pure consciousness whose nature is happiness. Bimba Sukham, that is what we call it as Bimba Ananda. Original Ananda of Brahman. Pratibimba Ananda means what? It is a reflected Ananda. This is one of the methodologies of teaching what is Brahman. What are the other two methodologies? One is called as Avachedavada. I'm digressing a little bit, but just to explain to you so that you're all senior students of Vedanta, you will be able to appreciate it. Avachedavada, Abhasavada, Bimbavada. three paths, three methodologies to reveal that nature of Brahman. Avachedavada means what? Like space is enclosed in a pot, similarly Brahman is enclosed in our body mind. That is called as Avachedavada. Bimbavada means what? Ananda, what we are seeing now. Ananda, which is the attribute of Brahman, is reflected in the mind as happiness. That is Bimba Ananda, Pratibimba Ananda. Another methodology of trying to reveal that Brahman. And the third method is Abhasavada. Abhasavada means like that moonlight and sunlight. Sunlight is nothing, but it is the moonlight is nothing, but it is a reflection of sunlight. Similarly, the whole universe is nothing but Brahman. These are the three methodologies of revealing Brahman. Here, that rasa, that happiness is taken up by Shankaracharya to say that the rasa which you experience is the rasa of Brahman. Okay. Source of ananda for anything in the world is Brahman. Human being happiness only by getting that from Brahman. Why do we say that? Because Vishaya Sukham is Sparsha Rupa, Rasa Rupa, Gandha Rupa, but it is relative. It is not absolute. What is the nature of the happiness of that reality? It is permanent happiness, eternal happiness. That is what is said by Shankaracharya in this section. Okay, then there is an example of the dog and the bone and the blood and all that. It's the same. It explains as that. It explains the same logic that the happiness is in Brahman, not in the world. Okay, Kaupina Panchakam. These are all explanation to say that Brahman is Ananda Swarupa. Kaupina Panchakam is a very beautiful, is written by Shankaracharya. He says that a person who is just having a loin cloth, he is able to enjoy that wealth of happiness in his mind, which without anything in life. In Bhaja Govindam also, this particular mantra, Yogarato va, Bhogarato va. So here also, this concept of happiness by a jnani, it's a very big topic. It comes in Vichara Sagara as a very big topic. That what is the nature of happiness enjoyed by a jnani, and how is it higher than whatever you can pose the happiness of a billionaire? It is said in the Veda. Okay, Bhagavad Gita talks about the one who rejoices in the self. He is satisfied with the self. Yasmat patireva syat atmatriptascha manavah atmanyeva cha santushtaha tasya karam na vidyate. Atmanyeva manavah santushtaha. That means, see what all these verses, what Shankaracharya is trying to say is, if you discover this Brahman within your own heart, you will enjoy happiness. That's all. It is for us to proceed further in this search for Brahman. Brahman alone is a source of joy or ananda. Okay. All this is called as rasa ananda. There is no joy in the Vishayas. Vanamala is a commentary. It is a commentary which is written on Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. There it says Vishaya Ananda does not exist like the moonlight. Moonlight doesn't exist by itself. So Vishayana Ananda does not exist by itself. It is Atma Ananda which is manifested in the objects. So one of the reasons why we say Brahman Asti is because we all experience Ananda in our life. Happiness is experienced in all of us, right? All of us. You must have, all of you who are listening here, each one of you must have experienced some happiness at some time. Throughout your stages of different stages, you experience joy, happiness. So there is Brahman because you are experiencing joy. And that joy of Brahman is eternal. It is Nitya. Whereas your joy experienced through the body and mind is relative, Anitya Anand. See how Shankaracharya goes so deep in all these bhashyams. These are the commentaries. If you go deep into these analysis, it will take you a long, long time to understand. But then they give you a joy of thinking. How you can reveal the real meaning of all these Vedic mantras. Body is inert, but it is sentient. Inert means what? Body is something like a table, but it is sentient. Sentient means what? It has got the knowingness, it has got the feeling of happiness. A table cannot enjoy happiness. That happiness which is in the body and mind belongs to whom? It belongs to Brahman. It belongs to Atma. It does not belong to the inert body. Here there is some explanation of Sankhya's concept of the world, and it is not so important, therefore I'm not spending some time on that. See, the jiva is taken today as the prana. When the prana leaves, we say the body is dead. But actually, that is not the truth. The truth is what? Jiva is the consciousness principle. So this concept of prana-oriented life, we have to change it to consciousness-oriented life. This is another teaching of Shankaracharya in this section. Ahamkara, mamakara keeps this jiva bound in this body. I am this body, I have all these possessions. It is useful for relative world or transactions in the normal world, it is useful. But don't take this as the reality. That is what he is saying. Okay. Body is made up of parts. We don't take the parts, but we look at the entire body of the car. So the parts are the organs. But who is the beneficiary of all this? It is the Chid Abhasa, that awareness principle which is in this body is the Jiva portion. That Jiva portion, which is the Chid Abhasa, realizes that it is not, it is only a reflection, but it is pure Brahman. See, you generally, there is a question, who realizes Brahman? Is it the inert body? No. Is it the mind which is fleeting? It is one day it will say, yes, I am Brahman. Next day it will say, I am not Brahman. Is it that? No. There is something else in this body, which is that awareness principle. That awareness principle is unique. It is what is called as a sentiency, chetanatvam. And it is this chetanatvam, the reflection in this body, which is wants to realize the ultimate truth. We all know that we are something different than the body, but we don't know that we are awareness principle. The moment I realize I am the eternal awareness principle, that is what is called as moksha. Okay? All these portions are all talking about this verse, which is the second verse of this 7th section, which is that Brahman is of the nature of Ananda. We will see the more details in the next section, 8th section, but these are all introductions for that big portion. Okay. So the sentient portion is the beneficiary. That reflected consciousness, reflected awareness is the beneficiary of this body. And it is that beneficiary which is having a wrong notion. And that awareness principle is the Ananda portion also in this body. It is that reflected consciousness which was described in Keno Upanishad. Keneshitam pratitam preshitam manaha. You know, we did Keno Upanishad before Taittriya Upanishad. So who is the questionnaire? Who is the student? It is that reflected consciousness which is what is trying to understand. I am the reflected consciousness, but in the sleep state, this reflected consciousness is not there. It goes back and goes into the original consciousness. Mind is changing. Mind is a thought. But I have to understand the consciousness portion in me and take that consciousness portion to be merged as a part of that Brahman, which is total consciousness. See, Shankaracharya, so this particular portion is, who is the beneficiary in whose presence body, mind is acting? It is this reflected consciousness, which is called as Shrotrasya Shrotram. It is called as sentiency. Okay? All this creation is not for a Jada Vastu. See, the world is made up of inert objects, but who is the beneficiary of these inert objects? The beneficiary is consciousness principle, existence principle, Ananda principle. The world is a bhoga vastu for a jiva. But the jiva is this existence, consciousness, happiness, aspect in this body. Dridrishya Viveka says that Asti and Bhati and Priyam, this is the actual verse. For those who have done Drigdrishya Viveka, see, Shankaracharya's Bhashyam includes all this. You see, we are talking of Upanishad mantra, but we go into Chandogya Upanishad, Drigdrishya Viveka, Bhagavad Gita, all this in the Bhashyam. So, in the Drigdrishya Viveka, it says that every object in the world has got 5 things. Number 1, existence. Number 2, it is known. It shines. Then number 3 is it is dear to something. It is dear to somebody. That is Ananda portion. So existence, consciousness, knowingness, and dearness, Ananda, these 3 does not belong to the object. It is belonging to the reflected Sat in the object, reflected existence in the object. Name and form belongs to the object. Asti bhati priyam rupam namached. These are the 5 factors in every object. Take even our body. The body has got a name and form. You have a name. You have a form. That belongs to the body. It belongs to the mind. You are called by, says, so and so. You are Shanta. You are so and so. You are Bhau, whatever it is. That is name and form. But intrinsically, who are you? Intrinsically, you have to say, Aham Brahma Asmi. I am that infinite existence, consciousness, happiness principle. It is only getting reflected in this body mind, and I'm experiencing this world, I'm listening to the talk. This is all incidental. But who am I? Intrinsically, the same when I experience my nature in the sleep state, that is what is called as Satchit Anand. Okay? If you look at a mirror, you can see the reflection. The glass and the frame belongs to the reflecting medium. It is the mirror. But the reflection does not belong to the mirror. It belongs to the face. Similarly, Satchidananda, which is described in Taittriya Upanishad as Brahman, is the reflection of that Brahman in this body. Ananda belongs to Brahman. That is what is the essence in this particular section. But we are going to see that Ananda perhaps next week. So I will stop here with this slide 829, and we'll continue this Bhashyam. See, the Bhashyam discussion goes on into depth and depth and depth. That is what is the difference between Bhashyam. We have done other Bhashyams. Mundaka Upanishad, we didn't do the Bhashyam. Kaivalya Upanishad, we didn't do the Bhashyam. But in Taittriya Upanishad, we are doing the Bhashyam. You can see the depth of analysis together with the Upanishadic mantras. So I'll stop here. Next week is going to be the 9th of December. It will be the last session before the end of this year. I will be traveling on the 16th, which is the next Saturday following that. So next Saturday, we have a session. The following Saturday, I'm leaving Singapore. I'm traveling for 3 weeks. So next session will be the last session, and then we will continue our sessions in January. Okay? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Okay, there's a lot of questions on the chat board. very, very intense talk today, very intense. Okay, now let us see what he says. Vibhuti is saying, today's talk is in contrast to Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. Is it that for the beginners? Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya is taught to drive home the sense of universe as Brahman, and afterwards unmanifest, manifest. Conditions are elaborated. Sarvam Khalidam Brahma. So Jiva and Jagat both are nothing but different forms of Brahma. Okay, so you are right, Vibhuti. Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarvabhutasya. Okay, same, the above depicts individuality of Brahman. Okay, good. So what Vibhuti is saying is, there is something called as Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Na Paraha. This portion comes in Brahma Ananda Valli. For those who, for some of you, I think those who are part of the divine code section, this portion, this particular aspect of Brahma Ananda Valli was projected some weeks ago. Satyam, this Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, whatever Vibhuti is saying, is exactly the ultimate truth, which Shankaracharya says is the truth of the Upanishads. Okay, what we are teaching today is a diluted version. You see, we are trying to reach that Satyam, whatever Brahma Satyam we are trying to reach. But how to reach that, looking at the world, is what we are seeing today. Ultimately, what you're saying is correct. Sarvam Khalividam Brahma. Yes, everything is ultimately one essence. How do I see that one ekatvam, ekameva advitiyam Brahma? That one Brahman, as a junior student, how do I start? I look at the manifest world, then I go into the unmanifest world, understand that the manifest world is coming out from unmanifest nature of that Prakriti. Prakriti is the power of Ishvara. Prakriti is the power of that Brahman. So your understanding is correct. We are trying to reach that ultimate essence, but from a junior student's angle. That is what Upanishad is also trying to teach. I am Atma Gudakesha. You're right. This verse is a beautiful verse in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and it talks about the indivisibility of the Brahman. Now you want me to explain that, okay? See, this Brahman, what we are calling as the ultimate reality, it is one. It cannot be divided. How do I understand this? Shankaracharya in Mandukya Upanishad explains this in his Bhashyam. He takes the example of space. He says space cannot be divided. Space is ekam. But we see the space in a pot and we say it is a small pot. We take the space in the room and we say it's a room space. Then we say it is hall space. Then we say it is a stadium space. Then we say it is the space in the cosmos. What is changing here? The changing is only the covering of that space. Enclosed space. What is the enclosure? The enclosure is a pot. Enclosure is the walls, the four walls. Enclosure is the hall. Enclosure is the stadium. So Atma, okay, so once you have understood, I hope you have understood now space exam. But space is only one and it is indivisible. Indivisibility means it is without parts. Nir avayava. There is no parts in space. Let's come to consciousness. Consciousness is one step above space. Consciousness is Chetanam. Space is Achetanam. Consciousness is indivisible. Now we look at the common features of space and consciousness. Lord Krishna, he is describing to us in the 10th chapter, I think it's the 19th verse, in the 10th chapter, Aham Atma Gudakeshaha. So what he is saying is, consciousness is enclosed, is actually it's one consciousness like space. But the body encloses this consciousness and it has got a mind also. The body has got what? Two things now. Inert body, it has got a mind. Mind is also a subtle body only. It is only matter. But what is reflecting in that subtle matter? Like you have a mirror which can take a reflection of my face because of the fineness of the mirror. My mind is exactly like that mirror. It can reflect consciousness, that sentiency, that powerful knowing principle in this world. Table and the body and the subtle body cannot know itself. But consciousness, when it is reflected in this body, it appears to be divided. But actually, it is not divided. There is one indivisible consciousness. Mind, the upadhi, the container, it gets a reflection of that consciousness and the life comes into this body. Then I say I am. Then you say vibhuti is. But vibhuti is not this body. It is not this mind. It is the reflected consciousness in this body and mind. So one space appears divided, pot space, hall space, room space, several pots. What I'm explaining to you is from Shankara Bhashyam in Mandukya. If you come and attend this talk, it is the 20th shloka in the 10th chapter. It's correct. So when you come to Mandukya Upanishad, your question will get more clarity. You'll get more clarity. The answer, I've just given you the gist of that question. I hope you got the message. Vibhuti, can you come online? I want to understand whether you have understood what I said. You can unmute and speak.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is it clear?
Clear, sir, clear.
Very good. Okay, it's a very beautiful question and it shows the depth of your mind. I'm glad you are able to relate it. I'm seeing a lot of participants are able to relate Bhagavad Gita with the teachings of Taittriya Upanishad. Excellent.
Sir, thanks to your guidance, sir. Your instructions, your passionate explanation, it is helping a lot, sir.
Okay, thank you. Manikandan says, since Brahman possesses Maya, Shakti, how can we understand Brahman as Nirgunam? Okay, good. See, a Shakti is with reference to Shaktivan. Balam with reference to Balavan. Shakti with reference to Shaktivan. There is a holder of that Shakti. Now, we say Brahman has that Shakti. This Shakti, we are only saying it is a Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti means what? It is not independent. It depends on that Brahman. Okay? First point. Second point is, when we say Brahman is Nirgunam, we are talking from a higher standpoint, which is absolute standpoint. When we say Brahman is with Maya Shakti, we say it is Sagunam Brahma, Brahman with Gunas. It is with respect to the experience of the world. Whenever we are talking, when the world is in front of us, Brahman is Sagunam. It is with Maya Shakti. Then the same Brahman I understand from Taittriya Upanishad as it is Nirgunam Brahma at the absolute level, without the creation. That is called as Nirgunam. That is called as Turiyam. How do I understand this Turiyam? Go to your sleep state. In the sleep state, there is one portion of the sleep state which is ignorance about the waker. In the sleep, I'm telling you to go to sleep state. In the sleep state, what is happening? You are ignorant about the waker. You are ignorant about the dreamer. That is why it is called as sleep state. Ignorance of the waker and the dreamer is called as the sleep state. This is one type of understanding for a jiva initially as a junior student. Now, the same student now understand there is Brahman, which is the cause of this world, and it is beyond the sleep state. It is no longer the sleep state because you have dropped the ajnanam. The ignorance is gone. Ignorance of what? Not of the waking. Now after studying the Upanishads, your ignorance of what lies beyond that sleep state is gone. When that ignorance goes away, with reference to that pure consciousness by itself, it is called as Nirgunam. Absolutely. You are talking about two levels. One is relative level, it is Sagunam Brahma with Maya Shakti. The whole universe is Brahman. But with what? With a Shakti which is called as Maya Shakti. The same Brahman without this world is called as Nirgunam. Nirgunam Brahman or Turiyam Brahma. In Mandukya, Nirgunam Brahma is the same as Turiyam Brahma. Initially, for senior student also, it is slightly difficult, this topic of Sagunam Brahma, Nirgunam Brahma, Karanam Brahma, Karya Karana Vilakshanam Brahma. These topics may be slightly confusing, but when you come to Mandukya Upanishad, this last stage of Nirgunam and Sagunam Brahma will be completely clear. Shankaracharya's commentary is brilliant. I have given you a small gist now. With this, you will be able to understand, but more clarity will come in Mandukya. But this is at a very high level of understanding. You're almost reaching the ultimate truth. When your mind is discussed, is contemplation on this truth of Sagunam Brahma, Nirgunam Brahma, Maya Shakti, your mind is at a higher level. Fantastic. It's good, but let the knowledge come in its own way.
Thank you, Sir. I have one more question, if I can continue with that. You told that the Ananda is what we experience is because of the reflection of the original Ananda from the Brahman. But how about the sadness or the dukkha experience? Is it also a reflection from the Brahman, or it is created by the mind?
Good question. A beautiful question. See, only if you are a thinking student, you will ask this question. If you are not thought about, then you will not. Okay, good. See, the sadness and the happiness are caused by vasanas. They are caused because of punya papa. The reflection is the same. The reflection is of Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. That is common to all of us. But what is the experience of sadness? Experience of sadness is at a relative level. At the relative level, every sorrow is nothing but a thought. Every happiness is nothing but a thought. A thought which is reflecting Ananda of Brahman is called as happiness, Ananda Swarupa. A thought which is getting revealed by Brahman, which is a sorrowful thought, it is a thought of incompleteness. I'm missing something. My body is sick. My mind is having thoughts. The thoughts belong to the world. So the revelation of dukkham is also from consciousness. Revelation of sukham is also from consciousness. What makes the sukham and dukkha anubhava is punyam and papam. Whenever there is papam fructifying in your mind, it will be sorrowful. Whenever punyam is fructifying, it is sukham. You go and attend a seminar, you go and attend some religious talks on different texts. It is sukham. It's your punyam working. You are listening to Swamiji's, you are listening to Bhagavad Gita, you are chanting Bhagavad Gita, it's your punyam. So when punyam thoughts are bubbling up in your mind, it is happiness. This happiness is not possible if the Brahman's original nature is not happiness. That is what is the lesson in this Taittriya Upanishad. So what it says is, you drop your mind and realize your nature as happiness, Swarupam as happiness. That happiness, when it is reflected in the mind, is not this, it is Swarupa Ananda which is reflected. So you have to differentiate between Swarupa Ananda, Dukkha Anubhava experience, and the Swarupa Ananda of Brahman. These three you have to understand with reference to the thoughts. So, am I clear?
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the clear explanation.
Okay. There's no more other questions, but I'll take the question of Shanta. Go ahead, Shanta.
Yeah. So I felt today's talk was very deep, and the understanding of the manifest and unmanifest was becoming very clear. And I want to just ask this, because in one of I think it's Chandogya Upanishad,
Yeah.
when the student, when the guru asks the student, in this seed, is it that one where do you see the tree? I think it's, I don't know which.
Yeah, it's
Taittriya.
Chandogya
Yeah,
only.
yeah,
Yes.
yes. So he asks, is there a seed? Can you see a tree in this seed? When you cut it, you can't see it, but you
Yeah.
know a plant grows through that seed. But the same seed, like for example, we have got almonds, and you can grow an almond tree from a seed, but when you heat the almond, tapa, nothing will grow out of it, because
Correct.
you won't be able to grow a tree once it has gone to tapa.
Yeah, a burnt seed cannot be
Yeah.
used for germination of a plant.
Plant, yes. So now I don't know whether I'll be able to put my question in words. Now, when the seed is in the form of a seed, um, there is a potential for it to grow into a plant. Now, I've only heated it, and it has lost the potential to grow into a plant. What is that I have killed in that tapa?
Okay.
What has gone out as a part of tapa?
What you
Yeah.
have killed is a potential in the seed to give me karma phalams. You see, what they say is that your future sanchita is burnt. That karma phalam, which is there in the Karana Shariram is the seed state of the universe and of your own body mind complex. In the Karana Shariram, that Karanatvam, which belongs to the Punya Papam, which is the potential for that seed to germinate more bodies and more minds, that gets burnt by this knowledge of Brahma. Brahma Vidya burns that capacity of that Karana Shariram to produce another body because that potential is burnt. There is no more potential left for the seed to generate more bodies for that Jiva.
So when we understand this bit, so when we learn this Brahma Vidya, it is the tapa, right?
Yes,
Which
it
we
is.
are doing.
Yes.
Yeah. So why is it we say that only with the knowledge of Brahma Vidya you are going to be liberated, or that killing or the burning of the karmas, shall I say?
Yeah.
The better word is gone. Whereas if you just do tapa by meditating, it's not going to go. What is the difference?
Okay. So what is the tapa? What is the meditation on? What will you meditate? Suppose you say, okay, I will sit in meditation and I will be able to burn up all the sanchita karma. But what is that meditation which will help you?
See, many a times people meditate on trying to make the, chitke ekagrata is trying to limit the thoughts. It could be
Okay.
in form of a
So,
japa.
yes, but that will not give moksha. According to Vedanta, it is only for the purity of the mind, but it will not give you moksha. Moksha is only possible from Brahma Vidya. There is existence of Satchidananda Brahman. There is some reality. When my mind contemplates on that reality which is beyond the Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, and Karana Shariram, independently it exists. Then what happens when my mind travels in this direction? The Veda tells us that your sanchita karma will be burned. You will exhaust your prarabdha, and there will be no agami karmas for you. See, this karma theory is only up to the level of with your body and mind. The moment you have transcended your body and mind, this sanchita, agami, prarabdha, all
Goes away, actually.
becomes meaningless.
Yeah. So the potential, now coming to, the butter and the milk, there is a potential for the milk to become butter, but there is potential for the milk to become curd as well. So there are different forms can be formed, come out of this. But when we talk about Jagat, which is the potential from Brahman, right? So is it that we are having all these different forms, or, different lokas? Is it like different forms which come out, which are potential from milk? Just like how you have potential from milk is, say, yogurt and,
Correct. Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're
would that
right.
be, would
That's
that the
right.
way you look at it?
Yes, that's the way you look at it. You look at it. You see, what they say is, so this is we are discussing this at the totality level. At the individual level, let's go one step lower. Try to discuss this Shakti, Maya Shakti at the individual level. Then you can understand the Shakti at the total level, at the Brahman level. Individual level, our dream. When you have the Shakti, Nidra Shakti to go to sleep. So Nidra Shakti is your Shakti, your power. All of us possess that power. So when we go to sleep, what happens? Then our mind starts projecting a world. That world has got so many things. And it is produced instantly. Not that one by one, slowly, something will come. No, it is all instant. That is why it is called as a magic show of the dream. Similarly, there's a magic show of the waking which is happening in the cosmos at the Brahman level. Your mind, my mind, this classes, all this is going on in that one total mind. And that total mind is nothing so different than our mind, because the Karana Shariram, at the Karana Shariram, what is Karana Shariram? Karana Shariram is defined as undifferentiated world. In the waking state, it is a differentiated world. In the dream state, it is a differentiated world. Like you have water is in a differentiated form as ice, vapor, and liquid form. They are different forms, but undifferentiated form exists. For the world, that is what in this whole discussion, today's discussion, the central takeaway is of the teaching is there in what I didn't know before, that there is this portion of mine and a portion of the world which is unmanifest condition. That should be the central takeaway today. It is a Vedanta, a very important principle of Vedanta. Very, very important to understand all the Upanishads. If you understand this manifest and unmanifest, if it becomes clear in your mind and you're able to assimilate it, you see, you should assimilate it. You should not say that the world is happening like this in manifest, unmanifest. You should include your body and mind also into the world. My body and mind is a part of Prakriti. Prakriti means nature of 5 elements, which is this nature. It's complete. It's a cosmos. So when the whole cosmos goes into manifest, unmanifest, and there is something beyond this, which is what is Nirgunam Brahma. There is something called as Sagunam Brahma, Nirgunam Brahma. Sagunam Jiva, Nirgunam Jiva. What we are equating is Nirgunam Jiva and Nirgunam Brahma is one reality. Sagunam Jiva and Sagunam Brahma, there is variety, there is novelty, there is infinite forms. Infinite is the word for Sagunam Brahma. But for Nirgunam Brahma, Nirgunam Jiva, there is only Ekam. So this is where the science stops, and then Veda starts. Veda starts when you have reached unmanifest form of the universe. From there, you take off. And then the Veda shows you, come on, I will show you what is Sat. I will show you what is Chit. You bring the torchlight now. You are a ready student. You are spiritually grown. You have seen the world has no joy. You have now understood you want a Nitya Vastu. This is what in Prashna Upanishad, in the very second verse of the Prashna Upanishad, that Shankaracharya writes this beautiful commentary. He says, the student has done Pariksha Lokan. He has examined the world. He has understood that there is only Anityam, fleetingness in this world. There is no Nityam. Is there a Nityam? Is there something which is eternal? That question is answered the moment you study Taittriya Upanishad correctly. With this manifestation, unmanifestation, the portions, you will glide into the higher nature, which is Nirguna Avastha, Nirguna Brahma. All that becomes very clear.
Yeah, I appreciate there are people who want to ask questions, but I've got just one more. Now reversible and irreversible. Okay. Now, when you talk about the whole world in the unmanifest form is Brahman, and the manifest world is Jagat. Now, if I have to understand this from this milk and butter, for example, condition, so the unmanifest form is in the milk. But once it manifests and becomes butter, it can't go back into unmanifest form. That is in the form where it was having the potential to become butter. So once the Jagat is formed, which is, the manifest form of Brahman, how is that you can reverse back? I know there are some processes are reversible, some processes are not reversible, and like milk to curds or butter from milk is unreversible. So are there such unreversible, what is that which makes this Jagat, or all the sentient beings, to get back and have the potential to go back into that seed state that is the Brahman and claim your Brahman?
Okay,
I don't know whether I've
your
made a question
dream
right.
is the best example. The dream, I would say, is the best example of manifestation, unmanifestation. Again, becoming manifest, again unmanifest. See, the dream has a condition of going back, but then it is irreversible. See, when we talk of relative realities, we can talk about reversible, irreversible at the relative level. But here we are talking about absolute level. From the absolute level, Maya Shakti can do wonders. That Maya Shakti can make, that is what is the definition of Maya. What you don't see, you see. That is like a magic show. In a magic show, you see that there is so many things. Falcon is flying out of the hat. So similarly, Shakti is Shakti. So in the Shakti, reversibility, irreversibility, both are possible. In this higher Shakti, it is possible. And that is what
I think I've got it now, because I didn't look at it from the Shakti. I was just looking at it from the potential to manifest, and then can it be reversible?
Now you got the answer,
yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. These type of discussions will become tenfold when you listen to Mandukya. This Taittriya is only a beginning, but when you come to Mandukya, it's going to be multiplied by 10. The questions will come into 10, but it also gives the answers. The beauty is Mandukya also gives the answers. Some answers very difficult to absorb, very difficult for the intellect to absorb initially. But slowly, when you go through these Bhashyams a little bit more in detail, then your intellect gets the felicity to absorb the truth. So I'm glad I did this Taittriya Bhashyam because it makes your intellect subtle enough to absorb greater truths. Like, for example, manifest, unmanifest, these are all not easy. But from the way I see the talk and the discussions and the responses I'm receiving from you all, I'm very happy to see that you have understood that. Good. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so if there are no other questions, we'll stop here. Next week will be the last session. And then later on in January, we'll continue wherever we are stopping. I want to finish up Taittriya Bhashyam to whatever extent we can take up. Thank you. Good night. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.